This will be an overview and discussion on the Access Client tools for the Xerox 6279 in the Ross-and-Berezini St. Louis office. This application basically allows you to send, receive, and access documents submitted either via scan or the Access tools themselves. I'm going to be going over the individual tabs and icons under the tabs. Reason being, all of the pull downs are the same information that's located on the tabs or individual icons, and it's much more intuitive to use the tabs and icons, much more quicker to do that and use your right click option. The first tab, the Document Submit tab, allows you to do just that. Submit documents to the Xerox printer. You can do this a couple different ways. You can actually drag icons on here. You can actually go to the Z drive and just drag a whole group of PDFs on here. Another option is to use these buttons here. This first button allows you to add documents. Again, you could come up here and drag documents on here if you'd like, but if you come in here and highlight documents, hit add, it's going to add the documents. Once the documents are added, you'll notice now you have these buttons here. You can cut, copy. Once you have actually copied, your paste option becomes available. So now you can paste individual documents in order. Now the availability of these pull downs are there. As you can see, the cut, copy, paste, delete, but if you use these, it's going to be a little bit more quicker, or using your right click as well. The next button over here is the Insert Documents. Again, you can insert documents. You can cut and paste these within your lists as well. But I can come in here, insert, and insert this document here right before it. So it allows you to insert one document or multiple documents, whatever you choose, to your existing job list. This button here actually submits your jobs. So once you've got all your jobs and all the options all set up, you can click this button and it will send the drawings or PDFs to the actual plotter. We're going to hold off on that. These next two buttons are your option buttons. So individual sheets, you can highlight one or highlight all of them. This button will do options for the sheets. So you have media, you can do media size, whichever roll, the media type. If you're going to use vellum or film, you're going to need to select this. The medium source. Setup, you can put a description in here. File format, you really won't use these unless you have some issues with some PDFs. You might click on this postscript. Transform, this is used to do your scaling. By default, you're going to have 100% scaling, and you can see it's disabled 100%. If you want to do half size from a full size, you can go to fixed, change this to 50%, and allow your drawings to be scaled down 50%. If you do this, make sure you check this line scale mode. This will actually scale your line types down as well, preventing your documents from coming out half size with huge lines or blobby in any way. You can also change your justification for the sheet as well. The composition, rendering, labels, stamps, and finish are not available for the individual sheets, but they are for the job options. So the next tab I'm going to go to is the job options. This is for all of these documents. So I can click on job options. I can give this a name. That will allow me to print these documents later on down the road. Again, if you do a job and save a job out, it will print the actual location and file names of these prints. So they have to be, the files have to be there, and they have to be in the same location. Just keep that in mind. Copies, priority. The accounting side, we do not use the accounting side, but in the future when we do use accounting, these tabs will be used for job number and user ID for accounting purposes. Finishing, we can do the scale to fit, we can reverse the print order, put a banner. Composition, we won't typically use the composition. It has the nesting capabilities where we can put multiple sheets on 130 by 42. we've selected the correct media sizes, so you never really need to do any nesting, but it's available. If you do nesting, there may be some trimming required. There's also an overlay. You can overlay an image on these if you wanted to overlay a big draft across the top, or not for use. Any image you'd want to put on the center of your documents, you can do that as well. Labels and stamps, same thing. You can do a label across the left edge, across the center, wherever you'd want to do that, just by clicking label, type in your label. And stamps, again, you can do a stamp on all the documents, QAQC, whatever you'd want to stamp it with, date, time, last printed, and then put the location of where you want that stamp to be and the size. The rendering tab allows you to change some rendering options. So if you did have, for example, a site plan or a sheet that had a bunch of pictures on it, you can come in here and change the way that these plot from the typical vector plotting to a photograph, change the graphics, line text, the halftone capabilities, and so forth and so on. The contrast, you can make them light or dark. So you can play with those a little bit. And then the color tab for your job options you won't really use. We do not have the color plotter set up just yet. We will be setting up the color plotter to give you the option to scan to a color location. That would be our HP 500 backed by marketing. The scanner is fully color capable, so it already will scan in color. So if we go to the next tab, that's the printer queue. So if we did submit a document, for instance this document here, I'm going to go ahead and submit that. If I go to the printer queue and look here, you're going to see that here's that document that I submitted. It's PostScript, it's waiting. The only buttons you really have in here are this printer here, which gives you your printer status. It'll show you everything that has been printed on the printer. You can see the status is all done, who printed it, where it was printed from, so the priority, what format was used, PostScript or HPGL. Also, you can see the media source down here, what's in each roll, is it full, what type of media is in there. When you click on the actual print queue itself, now you can see these documents. You have one here from Paul waiting, one from me waiting. I can come in here and click on my document and cancel. So I can cancel my document. Once you have multiple documents, I shouldn't have canceled that one, but once you go in there and you have multiple documents, you can actually change the order as well. You can push it up in the order. I wouldn't recommend that. First come, first serve rule. But you do have availability if you do have something going out that is a priority. And again, down here you can see all your media roles and what's the status of each role. Document retrieval. This option allows you to retrieve your scanned documents. The important thing to remember with this is what mailbox you scan to. On the plotter itself, this is an actual image of the plotter scan features. When you click on the scan button on the plotter itself, it's going to give you a bunch of options. You can do your black and white, your file format, PDF, single page, multi-page, TIFF, CALs, your original document type, is it a text to line, a photo, so these will make a difference in how the quality that's scanned. Image quality, advanced settings, so you can change your hues and your contrasts as well, and your reverse orders and things of that nature. What I want you to pay attention to though on the scan, when you go to scan, is the destination. You need to click on the destination and click on the appropriate department that you are located in. You can see we have the ARC department here, so I've selected I go to destination and click the ARC department. Here's the file name, which you can click on the file name at the plotter and change the file name of how you want it scanned. So I've chosen ARC department. I've actually scanned the document. Once I scan that document, it's going to go to the ARC department folder on the plotter. To retrieve that document, I have a couple different options. Up here, this button here will actually list all the scans that I have. You can see the 2 scans that I've made. They're out in the ARC department directory. This button here will actually retrieve those scans. One-time retrieval. this button here will actually automatically retrieve those scans. So now that I have these scans out here, I can retrieve them. I can put a prefix on them and call them Ken scans. The retrieval directory is going to be by default. We've created a My Scans directory in everybody's My Documents when we install the software. So that's the default location. So I can actually click on one of these guys and or highlight these guys and click this retrieve, and it will retrieve them and move them from the plotter to my Scans and My Documents with a prefix of KenS. Another option is I can do this automatic. What I can actually do is change this location to the Z drive. Say for instance I had a lot of users that were going to use these scans, so I can go to the Z drive, change it to the Z drive, and I have a lot of scans to make. I can click this automatic retrieve. You can see it's going to automatically move these to the Z drive with the prefix of KenS. But more importantly, it's set up to automatically retrieve now. So I can go to the scanner on the plotter, start scanning my documents face up or face down, of course. It's a little different than the KIP. You want to do these face down. As I scan them, they will automatically dump into the Z drive with the prefix of KenS. So now they're in the Z drive so everybody can see them, as opposed to storing them in My Documents, My Scans directory, which is only on my machine. So then I would have to actually save them for users to access. So there's a couple different ways. And then of course when you're done you can click the stop. Over here you have some save image options. These typically you would just go ahead and do when you're on the scanner. You can go, anything you set up here is going to be the way that the documents are scanned. And then over here you have some retrieval setups. These are all defaults. I would not change these in any way. The device manager. The device manager basically tells where your scans and where your default plotter located is. These will not be changed. If we do add another copier or scanner or plotter in another office such as Miami or Indy, we will then add that, and you'll have the option of retrieving scans from Miami or Indy or plotting to their plotter. So when that happens, you'd actually be able just to click on the plotter you want to plot to, go back to your document, submit, send your documents, and it'll plot on that plotter in that location. So again, the most important things, the toughest things to remember, I think the document submit is very easy. Again, you can drag documents in here, then click on this button right here, document, to print the document set. It will print them all on the plotter. And then the half size. The half size is one of the biggest questions. If you go to the document, click on the document options, transform, you can come in here to fixed and then change your scaling as well as your line scale mode, which you want to make sure that you do that as well. Some other options that I'd like to make available to you guys as well is if you go to the intranet, under the support page there's a printer info. That will take you to this location which has all the tutorials and manuals for the Xerox. If there's something that you have a question on, you can always ask myself or Igor. But if we are not available, you're here for a weekend or something of that nature, you can come in here to the Access Tools tutorial, and these links will give you full Xerox tutorials. They're very lengthy, but there is an index in front that you can search and find the information that you need. I hope this information was helpful, and again, if you have any questions about the Xerox 6279 Access Tools client or the actual scanner or plotter itself, please do not hesitate to contact myself or Igor.